Blah. Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha, just kidding. Y si tú quieres cambiar tu vida, if you want to change your life, then subscribe. Cha-ching. And by the way, guys, I just published my first book. It's called Shabbat in Chicago. It's about an audacious single mom who opens her heart and home to five adopted kids while embracing her Latino culture while being Jewish. And today, guys, we have a very, very special guest. He is the bass player for the Crimson. Give it up for the one and only Bubba. What's up? Woo!
Hey, how we doing? What's good, guys?
Oh man, I'm happy you're here, fam. It means a lot. This is good. We finally did it. I do want to share my first impression when we first met. You were performing at, I think it was it Red Dwarf? There was one of the bars. I think it was no.
It was the double down.
Double Down. Yes, yes. Thank you. Because there's so many performances, I lose track. And it was
Yeah.
so cool. I got to talk to you after the show, and we were like, yeah, man, I gotta have you on the podcast. I had Brandon, I had Chris, I had Gary, and so I was like, you know what, it's about time I gotta have Bubba. So I was really happy we got to talk, connect. So yeah, brother, I'm really happy you're here. And what about you? What was your first impression when we first met?
I thought we were cool right away. We connected really nicely. And I'm very good with starting conversations. I like talking to people, so it's like it's another day in the office whenever I meet somebody new. It's always nice to meet new people.
Right, right. It's true. It's true, brother. So yeah, so please, brother, tell us like your inspiration, what got you into music and pursuing as a becoming like a bass player. Tell us your journey.
So I'll go all the way to the very beginning. This is the earliest memory that I know. At least with this one, I had to be reminded about it because I was 3 years old when this happened. That really sparked that love for music in general. And then, of course, I like a lot of rock music, whether it could be something from Johnny Cash to freaking Metallica or something, or even one of the bands I like listening to now, Ice Nine Kills is one of my most favorite recent bands. But I was 3 years old, and I was one day I was in the back seat of the car, okay, and my dad's driving. He's going to pick up my mom from work, and he's just putting on some tunes, just jamming on the way there, and little did I know, 3-year-old me was dancing around to Eddie Van Halen's Hot for Teacher. As soon as the drum beats started going, I was just bouncing around and just going nuts in the back seat. And I was like, okay, so that's what really started my love for metal, man. And then what my most recent, not most recent, my latest memory that I do recall was I went to church a lot. Growing up, being raised Christian, I went to church a lot, and so there's always the worship bands that always go on, and so there was always the time to listen to the folks singing and everybody's playing their instruments, and it was just great sets. And then as I started to listen to some music on my own, I started discovering some of the more rock affiliated bands, that even some of the gospel rock bands, some of the very religious metal type of bands that I've listened to growing up. There were some bands I listened to called Skillet, Red, Flyleaf, and other bands like that. 1,000 Foot Crutch. Those were some of the early bands that I listened to that inspired me to really want to play music, wanted to pick up the guitar. And then, of course, I started to expand my variety more of all the other different bands I started listening to. And then the next thing I know, I told my parents I wanted to play the guitar. And so I started listening to other bands like System of a Down, Slipknot, and then other bands like Motorhead, Metallica started filling into my discography. And then there was this one particular band that I started listening to that really made me want to pick up the guitar, which was Pantera. And when I heard the guitarist Dimebag, may the guy rest in peace, I was like, I want to play like that guy. He was my earliest inspiration that got me in the heavy metal side of things. And that was before I went to bass. And eventually, fast forward to when I was 12 years old, 13, barely turning 13, there was a thing that I liked doing on the side. So other than learning how to play guitar, when I was learning how to play chords or, other basic stuff, tuning the strings, taking care of my instrument, I liked looking at cool looking guitar pictures online. And being that I was growing up homeschooled, I had instant access to all of that. I had the internet in my hands. So one day I was doing just that. And then I ended up seeing a picture of a bass. And then there's the section in the corner when you look at Google where it shows the related images. There's this other one that shows this guy standing there. He's got this red, hot looking, souped up kind of bass. And I was like, what is this? And it's a YouTube video of one of my idols, by the way. Billy Sheehan of Mr. Big, Talus, and the Winery Dogs. He's playing a show with Mr. Big. It was a show back in 2009. And he's just ripping it and not giving a damn of what he's doing. And it's just like mind-blowing because the stuff that he was able to pull out like that, I just could not fathom it. And I was like, that is the instrument I want to play. And the thing that made me switch from guitar to bass, I get this question a lot from a lot of people, especially on my social media. A lot of people always ask me, what made you choose bass over guitar? Because some people know I played guitar before, and then they see that I play bass now. Majority of people that pick up the guitar when they switch to bass, sometimes they say because it's a little bit difficult for them. For me, it was for a number of different reasons. One, I have big hands, so trying to play a proper chord right without making a mess was a little difficult. The necks are so small, and the string spacing, when you look at a guitar, how the strings are so close, it was really tough to wrap my fingers around them. So, and the other thing was just because I liked low notes.
Right.
I liked how the sound of the low notes sound compared to the sounds of guitars. Like lead solo sound cool, but I think it's far more impressive to even pull the stuff that even I do with the Crimsons on bass.
Oh,
And that's how I became a bass player.
that's amazing, man. There's a lot of things that like stood out from what you said. Like you were saying how when you were listening to even like the worship team when they were playing, there's a lot of instruments, drums, right? And one thing I learned too, and this is helps me in my editing, right? So like when I was young and I was searching for God and Hashem, I was trying to find my path, right? And what I wanted to do. There was a few times when I went to church and they would play the piano like doom doom. No, it was like dun dun dun, like sad. It was a sad piano. Uh, they were playing right, but it was just like
It was like a very soft melody.
soft melody. But they did it right before the offering when it was time to give the offering. So people felt they felt like emotional. They felt sad. They feel like I feel like giving right, and it was like a very sad moment. So I actually took that same idea with the piano anytime I have a person on the podcast and they're very um like they're speaking something so powerful, so moving, and it's kind of sad what they're sharing, I have the piano in the background because it's like the moment, right? Like dun, dun, dun. Like it just
You're
it's
just in the moment and you just don't want to leave it. You just want to take it all in until it's over.
right. So
And
it's
even when it's over, I'm sorry. Even when it's over, you're like, no, it's over. I don't want it to end.
yeah. So that's the method, that's the key that I kind of took from that idea. Like I and it's crazy because you mentioned that you mentioned how you transitioned from guitar to bass, and like as a kid you already had the love for music. It was already with you, right? And the fact that you kept it up, you didn't stop, you just kept going, and I think that's beautiful. I think that a lot of people the dream, the passion, but they don't apply it.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that I've even experienced firsthand, or not experienced, but witnessed firsthand, that unfortunately, while where some scenarios it's like they have the skill, but they don't have the passion for it, or vice versa, which usually sometimes when it's vice versa, when it's somebody who doesn't have the skill but they have the passion, at least when they have the passion, they build upon that skill and they just keep getting more and more and more and more. And I was one of those people. I didn't have any skills. I wasn't just born and then I was automatically like a killer bass player that I am now. Not that I'm tuning my own horn, but just to state the obvious that yeah, I didn't have any of that skills when I was a kid. I knew for a fact that if it was something that I wanted to do, something that I wanted to make a living out of, I had to put the dedication toward it, and heart, mind, and soul, all of it.
Yeah.
And that I'm not stopping now. Like I for some reason there was a brief moment where I had a thought where I was like, is this where it all ends with the Crimsons? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't see myself leaving the Crimsons. I don't see myself I don't see myself at the point where it's like, am I gonna go on for only so long and then I don't know, retire or something? But I don't see myself stopping at all. And there was one thing I learned from that influenced me to do that was basically something something that another one of my idols said. Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead, crazy bass player, crazy singer. And literally that's exactly what he did. From the time that he formed Motorhead all the way up till he passed away back in 2015, he was still playing shows, sick with cancer, and passed away when he was 70 years old. And what was he doing before that? He was playing a show in front of tens of thousands, like 20 something thousand. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But a whole crowd of people that have been fans of Motorhead for the longest of times. That's one of the things that I have been wanting to strive ever since I picked up the bass, and ever since I said I want to make a living out of making music and playing bass and being in a band.
It's like that song, you made me think of the song, "Don't Stop Believing."
Journey, baby. Journey.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
you
Don't stop believing. And hey, I'm not gonna stop believing in myself that I have a career ahead of me. I mean,
yeah,
there are gonna be obstacles.
yeah,
That's something to expect. There's gonna be obstacles no matter what. But you know what? When I hit an obstacle, I'm gonna figure out a way to push myself past it, even if that means I have to put blood, sweat, and tears to move past it.
right.
I will figure out a way around it, jump around it, dig a tunnel under that obstacle, whatever I have to do. Even if I have to break a hole in the wall and break a bone or something just to get past that obstacle, I'm going to do it. Nothing's stopping me.
Right, right. No, I feel you, brother. I wanted to ask you too. So, like, I know you just was on an interview with Ali and with the Crimsons. I wanted to know your perspective being with the whole crew and performing, in front of my friend Ali. What was your experience, being on her platform?
Oh, I loved it. It was great. Meeting her for the first time. It's like what I said earlier. It's always nice meeting new people. And so when I started talking with her, before we even set up and anything, I felt a connection right away. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna get along really nicely. And so going through that interview there, I just felt right at home. It's because it's like I said, it's this passion that I've always been holding on to and doing stuff that I always loved. It feels like home. No matter where I'm at, doing something that I love, it feels like home. Whether if it was when I was at the Rainbow Bar this past week and a half ago, the second Rainbow show that me and the guys just did, it felt like home because guess what? I was in a stage room playing my music and having a good time, or doing something that involves talking about the band, getting to be able to put my name out there for people to see me, because I wanted to be able to make an impact on the world as the same people before me had on me. The same people that had that mark on me, I want to be able to give to the next generation going forward.
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. It's crazy. This is a little sidetrack, but I want to share a little story with you. So I got invited to one of the old. I think he used to be he used to be an ex guitarist for the Guns N' Roses, and he was performing. I've never been to like a rock like event, nothing, and honestly, you guys, the Crimson, are like the only rock people that I really like mess with the music. I love it. Grunge. You guys are my top list. Ain't nobody beats it.
We bring it home, baby. We bring it all and we bring it home.
Right, right. Because when I grew up, the biggest rock stars or rock performers were Green Day. I don't want to be American idiot. And then you got Nickelback. He was one of my favorites too, And Three Doors Down, Kryptonite. That was the music I grew up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, what I've seen with the music industry is that rock music, not talking about grunge, but I'm talking about rock music in general, and R&B has gone down when it comes down to music wise. Like,
no doubt about it. Like, I can't go by the strip without hearing the same hip hop radio hits playing every single night. It drives me crazy. It's like there are like, don't get me wrong, there are some hip hop, rap, and other genres like that I get with. There's some of the old school pop artists that I loved listening to back when I was a kid, like especially a lot of the Latin pop, Daddy Yankee, Pitbull, and then you got artists like T-Pain or Black Eyed Peas, or some will.i.am, even though that's the same guy from Black Eyed Peas, but other artists like that, LMFAO, Bruno Mars. Those were artists that I liked listening to a lot, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of great artists, but they're not the same as they were back then.
Right.
They're not the same, because it's like nowadays with a lot of that kind of music, especially here in Vegas, dude, there's a lot of artists that show up out of nowhere and get and get more popular than those that actually would put the work into, rather than some artists that literally get famous by literally just making beats on a computer and boom, they go viral within a week.
Right.
And viral meaning like freaking worldwide viral.
Yeah.
And they're getting all the other crazy stuff that artists like me, the Crimsons, just as an example, and some even other artists related to more of the rock or R&B affiliated type of genres would be constantly busting their butts to get there. And they can't reach that level because as Chris has said a few times, some people are just that biased that they would be the same people that say we like to open opportunity for every new and up and coming artist, but as soon as something like the Crimsons would come up, they come to us and be like, yeah, you're not the right style for us. And we're like, what happened to the open opportunity? And that's definitely one of the biggest issues with that, is that there's a lot of those very biased types of approaches that with some people that they always pick those same artists because they know they like that and that it brings the business to them. But then when they throw that in, saying that they allow opportunity for any and every upcoming artist, and then they end up turning somebody down because they don't think it fits their style.
Man, it's really true. I think that going back to what you said, viral, I think a lot of the people that post videos that goes viral is the most dumbest video content I ever seen. I'm gonna be honest. And it's not even funny. The creativity is not there. You look at, I agree with you 100%. Your music, right? The Crimsons, you guys have better stuff than what they put out and it went viral. And even like, I got my own TikTok content that I do, and it's a lot better than these viral videos. And it's like it's crazy because when I look at these videos, I'm like, this is considered to me, this is bad quality, And I heard there was an interview I heard, I forgot their name, but they said something on the podcast, and they said something like the ones who are going to destroy this industry, like talking about influencers, are the one that are creating more and more new content, because the ones that just kind of just made it, they're going to be more stationary. They're not really going to try to grow, and they're not really going to try to take feedback or criticism. So they're really not going to grow, and they're going to eventually fade away. But if you have people like us that are willing to put out new stuff, new videos, we're we're willing to change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like if for the with as far as the Crimsons is concerned, with the first album we released, there is that like benchmark grunge style, because that's kind of like the whole that's the whole base of what the Crimsons is as a grunge band. It has that type of style. But of course, we still throw in some other things that you wouldn't normally hear in a grunge band, because I actually mentioned this in the other interview about grunge rock. There's no like modern takes of grunge nowadays. You don't hear grunge rock anymore, not even on the radio. You're lucky, you would be lucky enough to hear some of the classic hits from the 90s bands like Nirvana, Audio Slave, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, you name it. But like there's no new modern takes to grunge rock. And so that's one of the things that the Crimsons is working to do. And that is one thing I'm willing to put my foot down to make happen, because this is coming from a guy that listened to thrash metal as a kid, the 80s hair metal, thrash metal, and then you got the new metal from the 90s, emo stuff. The grunge part was like the least affiliated genre that I've ever listened to. And it's not like I didn't like it. I just never took 2 minutes to listen to anything. And so with thinking about all of that, it's like, yeah, there's like almost nothing. There's like almost nothing nowadays when it comes to grunge. And so that's what I intend to bring back.
I love it. I love it, fam. I think you guys are doing big things. I'm really happy. I do want you to share too, if you can, like a little bit on how you met Chris and like, got affiliated and joined the Crimson. Because I really I know you mentioned a little bit with Ali, but I want to hear more like what was it like, your first day and the process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So obviously I've now been in the band for a year. So this dates back to just before we hit the new year of 2023. So it was the week of New Year's 2022 when Chris first hit me up. So I'm just chilling at home, and I was recently just coming out of another band that I was actually trying to get, because at that point in time, I've already gone through 4 different projects of my own, whether if it was somebody asking me to play bass for them or me trying to start a band of my own. And I was literally almost at a point where I was going to give up and take a different direction. I wouldn't necessarily say give up completely. I was going to be like, okay, I don't think I can just do it this way. I think I'm just going to do this. But lo and behold, Chris messages me and he found me over this band called Vamper. It's basically Tinder for musicians. So, and it's so funny. Literally, it is like that. You swipe left if you don't want them, or you swipe right if you want them. So I had a profile because I was trying to expand myself to be able to allow people to find me. And then that's when Chris found me. And then he started messaging me. He was like, hey, dude, I'm getting my band back together and I need a bass player. Are you down? I said, at that point, when I said that I was almost ready to quote unquote give up, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to take the first thing that gets thrown at me. So I checked out the Crimsons. I see it's grunge rock. And I was like, okay, that sounds very familiar. That's something I can wrap my head around with and get adjusted to. So I checked out the music and it was legit. I love the songs. And we got to know each other. We kind of did the usual kind of like get to know you kind of a thing with that other bands do, talking about how long you have been playing, what are your influences, what are your favorite bands you like listening to, blah, blah, blah. We did that usual stuff. And so after getting to know each other a little more, we exchanged information, talked about meeting up. And then in that conversation, he mentioned checking out any of my social media pages. So I sent him everything, my TikTok, my YouTube, my Instagram. And, I was still pretty sure that he was going to have me audition for him, do it the proper way. And then he comes back to me and you can ask Chris about this. These are his words. He goes, you're too good of a bass player to even audition for. Just do me a favor, learn these songs, and then come in on this day. We'll see how you fit with the band. And that's what I did.
Whoa.
I was like, okay, I guess I don't need to audition. That's fine. If he likes how I play and wants me to play the songs, I'll do it. So from that point forward, the next week, because it was the week after when I officially met them all in person, and there was Chris and Brandon, and then there was also the other guitar player, Todd, who used to be in there, who is unfortunately no longer in the band. He hasn't been in the band for a while. he's a cool dude. He can shred. It's just that there was just some unfortunate circumstances that just kept repeating itself, and it was just getting a little stressful and hectic to even deal with it. And so we had to part ways with him. No bad blood towards Todd at all. It's just like it is what it is.
Yeah.
So the next 4 days, I spent those entire 4 days learning the entire Underground EP, and I was able to get them down like that. They were pretty simple, very catchy riffs. There were some parts where I was like, I'm going to throw in a little fill in here and there to kind of spice it up a little bit. Because obviously it was music that was already recorded and uploaded for people to listen before I even joined. So I did that. And then I learned a couple of the other singles too. There was Scared the Damned, My Oh My, Rock This Party even. And so we tried jamming out a couple. Even there's still that very first video from the very first time I went there, we were playing Scared the Damned. There's that very first video on the Crimson's Instagram page. It's the oldest one. And it shows the caption, welcome new members. You see me, you see Chris, Todd, and Brandon, and we're just playing Scared the Damned all the way through, and it was great. Just walking in there and meeting the guys, once again, already felt like I was at home, like I was just walking in another day in the office, ready to get another job done, and I'm glad to say that I'm doing a pretty damn good job, well done over here, because I've done so much in the past year that I have done with all the other 4 bands that I've tried to do. One of them was actually a band that I tried to start myself. But aside from all of that, from the day I joined the Crimsons, literally was within the same night that I first showed up for rehearsal, trying out for them. I played a couple songs with them, kind of showed them a little bit of what I can do as well. Just kind of telling them about myself, telling them like I've been playing bass for now 8 years. At that time, it was going on 7. But I was telling them everything I did with playing bass, how often I practice, the type of bands that I listen to, the fact that I also have been taking music classes all the way from middle school all the way up till now in college. Theory stuff. Even more now with some of the new material that me and the guys are writing, there would be a couple moments where Chris would come to me and be like, Bubba, what's this chord again? Wait, what's the key? And so I'm like the brains of the band pretty much, where when Chris is trying to figure out what the chord progression is, or when he's trying to do a certain technique or something, he'll come to me even. He'll be like, how did you do this, Bubba? So, but even then, it's like that tells me that I have somebody who's willing to come from me to help, as often as I would do the same thing. Like from that night, I was filled with joy. Absolute joy. I was super excited that I was in a band that had music, that was a legit band that has gone to play shows. And that very same night, after I left the studio, after playing with them, he called me back. He said, yeah, dude, you're in. You're the guy.
That's crazy, fam.
And the rest is history.
I love it. Look, I gotta tell you something. So it's about to kick us out. I wish we could keep going, but the Zoom's about to kick us out. So look, guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the oldest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat's Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And Bubba, where can my fans find you?
Y'all can find me on my TikTok. It's at Bubba Bass, at Instagram, Bubba Bass Official, and my YouTube channel, same username.